I called my parents to tell them my husband had died, and all they said, coldly, flatly, was, "We're busy. Deal with it yourself." Those words didn't just sting. They hollowed something out of me. I stood in the hospital hallway with the phone pressed to my ear, listening to the emotionless voices of the two people who raised me. My hands trembled, my eyes blurred, and all I could think was, how can they say that? How can they sound almost relieved? That morning, Daniel collapsed out of nowhere. A sudden, massive stroke. 1 minute he was in the kitchen making tea, humming under his breath, and the next he was on the floor, unable to move, unable to speak. I called the ambulance, screaming for help, pleading with him to stay conscious. At the hospital, they worked on him for hours before the doctor quietly told me he didn't make it. It felt like the ground dropped out from under me. 5 years married. 10 years in love. Gone in one brutal instant. The first thing I did was call my parents. Not because I expected comfort, I had stopped hoping for that long ago, but because it felt like the natural step. When my father picked up and I told him Daniel was gone, he didn't gasp, didn't pause, didn't show a flicker of emotion. He just said, "We're busy right now. Handle it yourself. We'll talk later," and hung up. No condolences. No questions. Nothing. For the next few hours I sat alone in a hospital chair feeling like an orphan, even though both my parents were very much alive. Daniel had always been the shield between me and their coldness. He would tell me, "You don't need their approval. You have a family with me." But now he was gone, and the loneliness swallowed me whole. The days after his death blurred together, arrangements, paperwork, and a crushing silence. I organized the funeral on my own. No one in my family offered to help. I didn't bother telling them the date. Why would I? They didn't care when he died. They wouldn't care when he was laid to rest. But on the day of the funeral, something unexpected happened. I thought only a handful of Daniel's co-workers and neighbors would come, but the hall slowly filled. Dozens of people. Faces I had never seen. People who hugged me tightly, who cried, who shared stories of how Daniel had quietly changed their lives, helped them, guided them, paid bills in secret, fixed things without ever asking for credit. I listened to strangers talk about the man I already knew was remarkable, and the grief inside me softened into something warmer, pride, love. Even though I lost him, the world had been better because he lived. Near the end of the service, the doors opened, and to my shock, my parents walked in. Not grieving, not remorseful, but with the attitude of people arriving for a meeting. My mother sat without glancing at me. My father leaned toward me and whispered, "We need to discuss what happens to the house now." That was the moment everything clicked. They didn't show up for me. They didn't show up for Daniel. They came for whatever they thought they could claim. I stared at him as something inside me finally shifted. For years, I had tolerated their coldness. For years, I begged for affection they never gave. But losing the one person who loved me with his whole heart made something crystal clear. I was done. I stood up, met my father's eyes, and said quietly but firmly, "You don't have a daughter anymore." He blinked, confused. "What are you saying? Stop being dramatic. We just need to sort out his assets." My pulse thundered, but for the first time, I felt powerful. Daniel left everything to me. And you're not welcome here. You aren't welcome in his life, and you won't be part of mine. My mother scoffed. "Don't be ridiculous. We're your parents." I looked at her and felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. Just a calm emptiness. Parents don't abandon their child. Parents don't say, "Handle it yourself," when her husband dies. You don't get to choose when to care. The room grew still. People stared. Whispers rose. My father straightened like he wanted to argue, but something in my face must have told him there was no point. They walked out without another word. After the funeral, Daniel's best friend handed me an envelope. "He wrote this months ago. He told me to give it to you, if anything ever happened." Inside was a short note in Daniel's familiar, tidy handwriting. "If life ever takes me from you, promise me one thing. Don't go back to the people who never recognized your worth. You are stronger than you realize. You deserve warmth, not cold shadows.
Live.
Love again someday. Never settle for less than you deserve. I cried until the ache in my chest broke open. But it wasn't the same crushing grief. This time, it felt like healing, like he was guiding me one last time. And in that quiet moment, I understood something true. I hadn't lost everything. I lost him, but I finally found myself.